Hello, my name is Alfredo Rodríguez, and you are listening to Stalwarts of Music with Aditya Veera.
Hi, Alfredo. Namaste. Welcome to Stalwarts of Music. It's such a privilege to have you on my show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. The honor is mine. Thank you.
Where are you? Which part of the world are you in and what's going on?
I'm in Miami right now, where I
Mm-hmm.
live, but I've been living actually for the past 4 years.
Mm-hmm. And what's going on in terms of music?
Well, I just released a new album. The album
Mm-hmm.
is called Got Away, and
Okay.
it was released on August 19th. And I've
Mm-hmm.
been focusing in this album for the last 4 years of my life. Actually, coming to Miami
Mm-hmm.
was one of the inspirations behind the album.
Okay.
Um, I was in a, as we all were in the whole world, in a period of isolation. It
Mm-hmm.
was COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and then I found myself for a period of time because I was also in Spain, in
Mm-hmm.
Madrid,
Okay.
some part of that situation. But I found myself walking the streets of Miami, kind of like alone and just at home composing this music because I didn't have a way to express myself through music anymore since everyone knew that COVID hit so hard and we couldn't go on stage anymore. So I was for 1 year and almost 6 or 7 months not playing on the stage.
Okay.
And Callaway is the result of all of that situation, being home. And I always say this, even though in tough moments, I always try to find the light out of any type of situation. So you can see that the album is very festive and happy and a big celebration of music and life.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the what I was thinking when I was composing this music. I was thinking in a moment like right now that we can all embrace ourselves again, just give a hug each other and travel again,
Yeah.
which it
Yeah.
was something that I couldn't do for a long time.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I've been involved in my time lately.
Very inspiring. The way you sort of draw inspiration even during tough times. I'm sure COVID was highly uncharted times for a lot of us. We were going through a lot, and we were trying to figure out if life is going to come back to normalcy, and especially for a musician like you, where your livelihood depends upon traveling, touring, and meeting people and networking. I understand the pain that you would have gone through during times like these. But on the brighter side, you've come up with an incredible album. So congratulations on Coral Way. I couldn't be
Thank
happier.
you.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's what we usually as musicians do. We just basically express whatever we're living at the moment.
Hmm.
And my music, my albums always have been inspired and motivated by whatever I'm living at the exact moment of I'm composing. So this
Okay.
time it was this type of situation, and I try to get the best out of each situation, and Cut Away is the result of that.
Marvelous. I'd like to take a step back now. I'm going to go back in time. I'm going to go back to the point where the little boy, Alfredo, the child prodigy, emerged, right? Like, I believe you were born in Cuba, right? And Cuba
I
is
was
known for very rich musical traditions, considering some of the other contemporaries. There have been very, very terrific musicians. I was just going through the history of music in Cuba. There's been a lot of incredible musicians like Roberto Fonseca, Chucho Valde, Ignacio Cervante. So, what was the environment like while growing up?
Well, I mean, as you mentioned, we are a very musical country, as you
Yeah,
guys as well. By
yeah,
the
yeah.
way, I love your music and your tradition and
Hmm.
your heritage in India is something that has really captivated me for so many years listening to musicians from your country. We
Hmm.
have something very similar, is that we take music in a sacred word
Hmm.
way. I grew up listening to Cuban music. I
Okay.
obviously I'm from Cuba. It's the same. It's a tradition for us, the
Yeah,
folklore.
yeah.
So that was my, anyway, if you are a Cuban, you have to listen to Cuban music. You have to dance. You have to sing. Everyone does it, even though they are not professional musicians. Everyone does it. Some people do it better than others, and
Hmm.
some people go to school for music, and some people don't. I had
Okay.
the privilege of going to the school and learning classical music
Hmm.
since I was 6 years old, 6 or 7 years old.
Okay.
So then my life started to change in a way because I could combine the classical world also with the popular, like popular music of Cuba, the tradition.
Yeah.
And then I discovered jazz when I was 12 years old. My uncle gave me the Cone Concert by Keith Jarrett, which is a great improviser from
Yeah.
the States.
Yeah.
And since that moment, I got very cultivated by the way of improvising. I didn't know that someone could really just sit in the piano and play for hours, not knowing what they were going to play. I was playing classical music, Mozart, Beethoven, Bach,
Yeah.
and it's something that is already written, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to adapt yourself to many patterns, many situations that you have to follow. When it comes to improvising, is not like that. You
Yeah.
just improvise, you just do whatever you want at the moment. And then I didn't know how to do much of that until that point when my uncle gave me that cd. That cd changed my life forever until now. I've been still today discovering many things about myself every day, that I can sit in the piano and improvise. And I hope I just keep it like this forever, because it's an endless process of learning, and that's what
Yeah.
I look for in music and also in life.
Marvelous. Of course, like learning for anyone for that matter, any profession we are in, it is always a never ending journey, right? We discover new frontiers and then we keep exploring, right? Especially when it comes to learning. I agree with you on that. So,
Thank you.
talking about the new album, what I discovered was you're not only a brilliant musician, but you're also a brilliant producer, right? So I'm interested
Well,
in
thank
knowing.
you.
I'm interested in knowing how you balance the traditional elements of Cuban music, melding of say different styles like Latin pop, timba, salsa, bachata, tango. I see a lot of these elements, right? And it also embodies the sounds of Miami, like you said. So how did you go about blending all of these styles, creating an all new masterpiece?
Well, I mean, I've been listening to a lot of Latin music for a lot of years, and it's something that always had my attention, was that we don't really have like a crossover
Mm-hmm.
musician or crossover act. Not many, to say
Right,
it in the right word.
right.
Um, we have great jazz musicians, we have
Yeah,
great popular music, and now reggaeton and pop and everything takes over the Latin business of music.
correct.
So I wanted to be someone who really can connect both worlds in a way. I've been playing jazz music for a long time and
Mm-hmm.
playing Cuban music for a long time, and I wanted to be kind of like that musician in the middle
Okay.
that kind of like embodies both worlds. And I think Miami gave me that kind of like mentality as well. Here
All right.
you can hear a lot of Latin pop music, and there is not much also of jazz. And
Mm-hmm.
then that's exactly what I wanted, just to create a sound that was what Miami could sound for me.
Yeah.
And that's the result of the album. It's a mix of, as you mentioned, many Latin American genres and rhythms,
Yeah.
um, like what you said, like many from coming from Cuba, like rumba, cha cha cha, danzón, but also many other type of rhythm from the Caribbean in general, from Africa, from Latin America, from Brazil, from Argentina, from
Yeah.
Colombia, from Peru. Many rhythms and genres from all Latin America that I wanted to combine then with jazz and with funk and rock. And as I said before, I've been living this process of transculturation for so many years now,
Yeah.
that living in a country like United States, it
Mm-hmm.
gives you that, because Miami or Los Angeles, where I used to live before, are very multicultural cities that you meet many new people from different cultures and start collaborating with them.
Okay.
So that always has been my goal,
Yeah.
and I wanted to continue that kind of mentality with Coro Way, but also focusing a little more what is the Miami world and also the
Yeah.
Latin the Latin music world, what is for the world, but also mixed with what I have been playing for a lot of years, which is jazz and world music.
Delving a little more deep into this album, I'm sure the initial impetus would have been a lot of these songs must have come from different ideas and fragments for someone like you. So, how did you go about recording these ideas when they came to you, right? And what was the process like? And one of these ideas became the song Fidju Di Lua. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Yeah, that's correct.
I did look it up on the internet, and it said it means trust me in Portuguese, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, no. Fidju Di Lua means like son of the moon,
Okay.
the son
Oh,
of the
is it?
moon,
Okay, okay. I think it has a
or
different.
daughter of the moon.
I think it has a different connotation in Portuguese. Well,
Okay.
when I look, so it was a very compelling track featuring Alana Sinkey on vocals. So tell us about this one.
Well, I mean, to talk a little bit about the process, I always find myself composing music from improvising. I
Okay.
just sit in the piano.
Mhm.
Usually, this is one of the ways that I do it. I sit in the piano and I start creating, just composing, or I mean, like just playing.
Okay.
And then some of those little moments that I can like better than the other ones, I
Right.
record them.
Right.
So it could be a melody, it could be a rhythm, it
Mhm.
could be a harmonic progression, it can be
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just leave them in my phone. Sometimes I just go back to them and try to create and develop the ideas, and some of
Right.
them become songs.
Hmm.
The way that I've been composing for the last year has been like that. And
Mhm.
sometimes also not with the piano. Since
Okay.
I am traveling so much and I am living, sometimes in hotels or by planes all the time, then with the phone, I have my voice memos full of notes, full of voice memos there, like so you will find myself doing things like that. And then
Mhm.
sometimes I go back to them and I just try to make music and songs out of it. It could be melodies too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do something, and then I go back later and I say, you know what, I like this. Let me just put it, like into the, let me just try to develop the ideas and compose the idea. And that's how my latest albums, all of them, they have been composed. I've been sending
Okay.
demos to all
Okay.
the musicians and just tell them, these are my ideas. We get together, we rehearse, we construct them in a way, and we just put it out. And that was how Fidju Di Lua came in. Actually, I composed that song not thinking about voice at all.
Oh,
So for
interesting.
you to see the way that we do it, the
Yeah.
way that
Yeah.
I did it, I
Yeah.
composed the song, I had it on my phone, and then I made a demo on my computer and also the piano, and I sent it to the musician. And I said to them, whenever we get to the recording, we'll figure it out. We went there and we started creating the song, and we finished the song without the vocals. The song
Okay.
was done without
Okay.
the vocals.
Okay.
And then I met Alana. I had the idea of incorporating Alana. I sent Alana the song
Yeah.
and I said to her, do you hear yourself here? Do you hear maybe yourself writing lyrics on top of this song, on top of this
Yeah.
music?
Yeah.
She said yes. And we went to the studio. And
Okay.
she did an amazing job on top of what we had already. It was that type of situation. Sometimes it's not like this. Sometimes it's like I listen to the singer also. But
Yeah.
in that specific song, I was creating it not thinking about who was going to be featured in that song or something like that. It came out after.
Brilliant. Since we are in the context of the song, I'd like our listeners to listen to a little bit of the song. So I'm going to play a little bit of the song.
Okay.
Mi stirriva perto di voi, quero ficar à beira tua. Mi stirriva perto de voi, quero voltar. A mi figlio di lua, che alma livre na baia e na rua. Sou filha da lua, de
So that was Fidju Di Lua from the all-new album Coral Way. What an incredible track!
Thank you.
I'm
Well,
gonna listen.
I was gonna mention something that you
Uh huh.
were asking before,
Uh huh.
and I listen. I've been listening to my music for a long time, but
Okay.
I am not really one of like one of those persons that listen to their own music for like repeatedly. And since
Okay.
this album was created recently, I haven't I don't actually listen too much.
Okay.
So
Okay.
now that I was listening to the song that you're playing,
Uh huh.
I can also see the situation that I was mentioning to you, that I was creating the song at home and thinking about so many rhythms and so many patterns.
Yeah.
That's why at the beginning, for example, I have the kalimba,
Mm.
the kalimba pattern. Ting, tung, tung, ting, tung, ting, ting, tung, ting, tung, ting, ka, ka, ting, ka. For me, it's like a cumbia. So
Mm.
I first in this song I first started with that motive. Now that
Oh.
you were
Okay.
mentioning my creative process, I
Mm.
remember that was the first thing that I created. I was just playing. I have my computer with a lot of sounds from the whole world, and I put
Yeah.
a kalimba, and I remember like just playing like ping pong tong king tong king 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 king. So then I remember just putting on
Yeah.
top of that some maraca, something like that, and created some
Mm.
percussion. And
Mm.
later I began with the melody. So that was the way that I composed the song. I remember, like just with layers, just
Yeah.
playing and improvising until the point that I find the right melodies or the right rhythms that I feel comfortable with. And it was a like process of many 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 layers on top of each
Yeah.
other
I'm
until we
sure.
got to the point of having Alana at the
Mm.
very end, and then
Yeah.
she writing the lyrics and she writing those melodies. Yeah, it's good when you see also the result of many musicians putting their heart and their effort into a
Yeah.
project like this, and people that you bring to the project always incorporate so many little details that they
Yeah.
make the whole thing um, go in one direction. And I just feel very honored to always be sharing my music and my life with many great musicians and friends.
Well, we are delighted. I mean, I couldn't be happier to listen to this all-new album, and I'm so glad that yeah, it's. I would consider this as one of your finest. So
Thank
it's
you.
truly incredible.
Thank you
Political
so much.
systems and ideologies have had turbulent attitudes and relationships to different kinds of music in different parts of the world. There's been this great debate in the role of arts in Marxoi to the role of art in capitalistic societies. In your experience as a musician from a country like Cuba, where challenges and hardships exist, what do you believe is the role and significance of music, especially your style of music, and how are you addressing these issues through your music?
I mean, I'm a human being who lives in a society, so definitely everything that happens surrounded me
Hmm.
in Cuba before and now in the States or traveling the world are things that concern me, and
Yeah.
they affect me in some positive or negative way. And then my music gets affected as well because I don't play music from something else. I play
Yeah.
music from my life.
Yeah.
Whatever I'm living at the moment, my music is gonna sound like that.
Mm.
So that being said, I've been living in many different situations. I
Yeah,
come
for
from a
sure.
country that is like a beautiful country in many ways.
Yeah.
When it comes to the political situation, not that beautiful in my opinion. We have been isolated,
Yeah.
and it has been a dictatorship for
Yeah.
so many years, and that's one of the reasons that I left Cuba. It was
Mm.
that I felt that I was kind of like in a cave,
Yeah.
that I couldn't see myself
Yeah.
traveling the whole world. I couldn't see myself
Yeah.
playing music everywhere and the music that I want to play. And I
Mm.
couldn't see myself also being an independent artist. I couldn't
Mm.
see myself being an entrepreneur where I can sell my music. I can do whatever I want with my product.
Yeah.
And not like going through filters
Mm-hmm.
that usually affect your life and your music. So I was not ready to do that, even if I was like a young
Yeah.
teenager when I left Cuba. I
Yeah.
wasn't ready for that. I didn't want that for my life. I knew that since I was a kid.
Okay.
So that's definitely one of the reasons that I left Cuba. that definitely has been affecting my music in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And also, obviously, adding to the situation that I met Quincy Jones, that I'm sure that we are going to talk about that too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that changed my life also, and that also pushed me to
Mm-hmm.
make the decision of leaving everything behind. When I say everything, my family, Cuba, physically,
Yeah.
I say physically because spiritually, always, my country, my culture is with me, my roots. But physically, I've been far away for so many years now,
Okay.
almost 15 years. So it's a long
Wow.
time
Okay.
for a musician of my age. And then coming to a country like the States, which is completely different, with a
Yeah.
different culture,
Correct.
different way of thinking, that also affects your life, affects your decision.
Yeah.
Um, but I have to say that I am in a very comfortable situation living in a country like the United States. I feel very proud to be Cuban, and I also feel very proud to be an American as well. Both
Incredible.
countries, they have given me who I am today, and the States have opened the door for me in so many ways. I'm so grateful to be part of this country.
Fun fact, you did mention about this, and I was having this conversation back in May with your team at the Quincy Jones Productions. Thomas, in fact, told me about your inspiring journey while I was trying to work with him to find you shows in India, because I would love for you to play in different. India is so diverse. There are so many states and people in different parts of India would love to hear you. So I was
I'm
working with
sure I
him.
would love to go.
Yeah, yeah. So while we were working, he did, introduce you as, one of the most inspirational figures who is, had a lot of hardship in terms of, you just walked to the States with a suitcase with a box of your compositions. Right. And
Mhm.
I'm sure your journey was filled with a lot of challenges, and you did have that scenario of anticipation, right? Well, when you were detained, right, for a stint.
Mhm.
And then, could you share the driving force behind this daring move and describe what were the thoughts that were racing through your mind during those intense hours?
Well, I mean, first of all, the most difficult part of making a decision like that for me was leaving my family behind.
Yeah,
Um, I come from a very functional family, and it's very difficult when you leave them
yeah,
and you don't really know when you are gonna see them. That's
hmm,
that's the most difficult part.
yeah,
It's not only going to a new place, not only living, like going to start a new life. It's
yeah,
also the unknown of like, I don't really know when I'm going to be able to see my dad, my mom, my brother, my grandparents, my family.
hmm,
That was very tough.
okay,
And obviously also the fact of crossing the border from a country like Mexico to United States
yeah,
incorporate to that situation something very stressful and difficult. And coming to a new country, a new
yeah,
language, a
yeah,
new
yeah,
culture,
yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know how to talk in English when I came here to the States.
yeah,
um, so there are many things that were very drastic
yeah,
when I made that decision. For me, it was like
hmm,
a big contrast
yeah,
coming from a country like Cuba to then coming to a country like the States. But as I said before, we are human beings and we adapt to many new situations. And
correct.
that's what I've been trying for so many years, and trying to see the light
Hmm,
out of all the odds and try to be positive. As I mentioned before, I try to be a positive person all the time and try to express a message of unity, a message of love,
hmm,
instead of the opposite. Even though we have ups and downs, I
yeah.
prefer to focus in the ups and not the down. So yeah, that's what I try to keep doing with my music. And
Incredible. Uh, your journey to the United States, like you said, has had challenges and uncertainty. So, what has been your eureka moment? What has been the best phase during your stint so far? Do you have something like that? The best memory in the United States, musically speaking?
musically speaking,
Uh huh.
I think meeting my idols, meeting
Okay.
heroes, people that I
Uh huh.
didn't even think about that I was going to be able to play with them and to learn from them, including
Yeah.
obviously Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know when I was a kid that I was going to be able to say that I've been working for, with Quincy for more than almost 15 years.
Yeah.
And he has been the producer of all my previous albums, Go Away,
Yeah.
and 5 albums, and many great moments traveling the world together, composing music together, listening to all these stories, learning. That's the most important for me. And then because of him and through Quincy's connection, I had the opportunity to meet people like Chick Corea or
Mm.
Herbie Hancock, Wayne Shorter, many Oscar Peterson, many of my idols
Wow.
that I played with some of them. I had a
Yeah.
very close musical relationship with Chick Corea, and
Mm.
I played many times on the stage with him, even as a duo. And that's something that I will take with me, my heart, forever.
Mm.
There are some things in the world that they come and go, but the moments, those stay with us.
Yeah.
And when you create positive moments for yourself during the years like that, because effort, because sacrifices, because love that you put into your music, and because also sometimes life gives you something beautiful to share with people, that I am very grateful that I discovered that I wanted to be a musician, a pianist
Yeah.
since I was a
Yeah.
little kid, and I
Yeah.
keep doing this forever. And people like with very important people and great musicians like those that I mentioned come to me, and they have been very supportive, and they have been giving me so much. Then life becomes better, and those are the best moments of myself when it comes to music. Definitely, since I came to the States, and not only the States, in the whole world, I've been able to meet many great musicians, many good people that I am so grateful that I met them and I admired.
Incredible. You did mention Quincy Jones, and I did stumble upon some information where I was able to figure out that you have been, a huge fan of Quincy right from the age of 5, right? You've been listening to his music, and you've
I
been,
mean, I mean,
yeah,
who doesn't know
yeah,
Quincy? Even if you
yeah,
if you don't know the
yeah,
name of Quincy Jones, you know music that Quincy has been involved, because
yeah,
only with Michael Jackson and with Thriller,
yeah,
everyone knows them,
yeah, yeah,
Quincy's music and the producing and the
yeah.
arrangements and everything. I knew a little more because, as I mentioned before, my dad is a singer. My dad, I don't
Hmm.
even know if I mentioned, but my dad is a singer from
Oh,
Cuba,
wow. Okay.
and he loves listening to musicians like Frank Sinatra, Nat King
Hmm.
Cole, and crooners from the States, Tony
Marvelous.
Bennett. And then I remember listening to Frank Sinatra with Quincy Jones Orchestra in Cuba.
Ah, okay.
And then, yeah, but Quincy was a arranger and producer for, uh, like many situations for people like that with Frank Sinatra. And then I
Yeah, yeah.
remember listening to those albums, and obviously, what people know most, which is like Michael Jackson, and I love Michael Jackson. So then, for a young musician, having the opportunity to work with someone like that, who has
Hmm.
been changing music in so
Correct.
many ways, so
Correct.
many times, I feel just honored and fortunate. And yeah.
Coming back to my question, there is this art of manifestation, and I'm sure you've manifested all the goodness, and that sort of led you to meeting your idol, right? You were also mentored by him, and then he produced some of your music. So, could you share a specific instance where Quincy's involvement made a significant difference in your career? Whether it was a strategic decision or an introduction to a key collaborator, what was that pivotal move?
Well, I mean, since the beginning, I remember the first. Actually, I saw Quincy the second day that I came to the States.
Yeah, yeah.
I went to his house, and since the beginning, it was like a very easy, beautiful relationship. Like not only musical relationship, but also like a family situation.
Uh huh.
And I think the best I always have to say is like the conversations,
Mm.
like just being with him, talking about his life, talking about music. Those are things that are gonna stay with me forever. You know, no one can take that from me.
Okay.
And those are the best moments for sure. As I mentioned before, uh, being an artist of Quincy Jones Productions for so many years and working with Quincy very closely for so many years has opened the doors in many business opportunities, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But I have to say that the more personal situation, like just being close to him as
Yeah.
a family, just talk about his life, about his struggles, about his achievements, about how difficult sometimes life is and how positive we have to be also in order to keep going, in order to make it a world a better place.
Yeah.
Those are the conversations, those are the moments that will stay with me forever. And I will, be so grateful and honored to say one day today, but maybe in many years that I went from Cuba to the States to meet this great, legacy of music that was Quincy Jones, and I was there for a long time with him.
That'll make an incredible autobiography of yours. I can't wait to see that on live screen someday. Let's
We'll
talk about.
see.
I'm sure that's gonna happen. You're already heading there. So let's talk about something a little more technical now. A lot of Latin pianists are known for their use of percussive and staccato articulations when it comes to their instruments. So can you share your techniques for achieving crisp and expressive attack when it comes to the keys?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of easy to say because in Cuba we have a very strong percussion
Mm.
tradition. What we really have in Cuba. We haven't created the piano, we haven't created the saxophone, or we haven't
Yeah.
created the violin.
Yeah.
Those are instruments from different continents.
Yeah.
But what we do really have is like percussion instrument. We have the bata, we have the güiro, we have the maracas, we have the bongo, the tumbadoras, the timbal, many instruments that we
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
there as native instruments.
Mm.
And even though I am a pianist, I'm always a percussionist in mind. So
Mm.
again, I wanted to be a drummer at the beginning. I didn't want to be a pianist when I was a
Okay.
little kid. I
Okay.
chose piano having in mind that I was going to change to drums later because I went to the school at 6 years old.
Mm.
And in Cuba, you have to choose then if you want to be a pianist or a violinist or
Yeah.
cellist.
Yeah.
Then if you wanted to be a drummer, you had to go to the school at 10 years old. So I went
Mhm.
early.
Mm.
And I said to my parents, you know what? I'm just going to choose the piano. And when I'm 10, I will change to drums.
Mm.
But I fell in love with the piano. I didn't want to change anymore when I was 10. And here I am,
Yeah.
not playing the drums. But through the years, you start discovering that the tools that you have in life are endless in a
Mm.
way. So
Yeah.
the piano, even though the piano is not the exact situation because the piano is a percussive instrument,
Correct. Correct.
but it's still there are many instruments. They are not like percussive instrument, and you
Yeah.
can play percussion with them. You can do whatever. You can do
Mm.
whatever with your instrument. So that
Yeah.
was what I discovered, and I just been as a Cuban, which is very easy because our music has a lot of contrapunt, our folklore has a lot of rhythm. So then, since you are involved in that culture and you are every day just listening to those rhythms, you start playing the piano
Yeah.
like if you are a percussionist. Many of my friends they do the same when they play the piano. Some of my friends they do it more and some do it less, but still,
Yeah.
if you are a Cuban, usually you play the piano a little bit as a percussionist in compare to what the piano is for the whole world. And then that's the reason. That's the
Okay.
reason that I've been also translating so many percussive instruments
Yeah.
into the piano.
Right. But apart from that, that being said, you had it in the blood. But that being said, there's been dedication and immense focus, right, that you've displayed during a period where you used to practice for 18 hours a day. I don't
I
know if you
mean, if
still.
you wanna if you
Yeah.
wanna be top level
Yeah.
in anything, this
Yeah.
is not about music. This is about everything in life. If you wanna
Yeah.
be top level, you have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
You have to put a lot of effort,
Yeah.
and you have to say no to many things.
Exactly.
That's the same for a little kid that
Mm.
just wake up and he says, "I want to be a swimmer. I want to beat, like I don't know, Michael Phelps in the Olympics. I want to have more medals than him.
Yeah.
You have to put a lot of effort. This is not something that is going to come easily. You can be
Correct.
talented, and that's great. You can be talented. Life gave you something beautiful that you can share with people. That's fine, but that's not enough if you want to keep just developing something top level. Talent is not enough. You have
Right.
to have discipline.
Yeah.
You have to be. You have to have like a constancy, and those are, professionalism is the art of the detail. My
Okay.
teacher used to tell me that when I was in Cuba, classical teacher, a beautiful teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Professionalism is the art of the detail.
Yeah.
The little details are the one that makes you professional and makes you top level. It's not that you are talented and you play the instrument and that's it. Well, that's it. If you want to be that, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you want to really go to top level, you have to sacrifice and you have to be motivated every day because there are many things surrounded us and entertaining things that can just unfocus you from what you are really made to do.
Correct.
But that being said, I want to say also something is that not everyone has the same approach in life. Not everyone wants to just be one thing. There are some people that they just want to explore and they just want to do many things in life. And that's too, diversity is so beautiful. Diversity is something that I really, love about life in general. And there are some people like myself that I've just been focusing in music and piano since I was a little kid. And there are other people that they do their life in a different way. And we all need each other. That's the most important. We all need each other. So yeah, I think if you find something like myself, something that you really are passionate about it and you are completely sure that this is what you came to this world to do and it's a necessity for you, I encourage all the kids that you have to put some effort. You have to sacrifice. If that is the way, if that's not the way and you just do it because you like music, like the way that I like sports and I just play soccer, that's something else. I just play because it's a hobby for me. I love it, whatever, but I don't feel like I'm going to forget about everything in life. And if I don't have this, I will die. No, that's not the situation. So then when you find something like myself that I found music, then try to develop that because that's something that not everyone has the opportunity to have. And that's something that is beautiful.
You did mention sacrifice a couple of times. Were there any significant sacrifices you had to make?
The first one is what I said to you before, leaving my family, leaving my country, not being able to know when I was going to go back to Cuba anymore, knowing that it could have been many years without seeing them, seeing my family, seeing my friends, my teachers. That was one of the biggest sacrifices of my life, definitely. And I have to say also, even though I made strong decisions in my life like that, I have been living a very fortunate life. I've been able to achieve my goals, which always has been expressing myself through music, playing my music in many countries, recording albums, going on a stage, playing the music that I love, and living and making a life out of that. And that I have achieved. So I think I'm a very fortunate human being, and I should be grateful and thankful for everything that life has gave me until this point.
Right. You also mentioned about the aspect of discipline, right? So your music especially has this quality of precision and control. So does this quality transcend your everyday life as well in terms of the person you are?
I think so. I think in many aspects of my life, yes. In some, no. Maybe in some, I am not that organized in some things. But usually I have to say that I am pretty focused in what I like, what I don't. I am not, I always has been like this since I was a kid. I kind of always, I don't have many distractions in my life. I prefer just to be focusing in what really makes my life positive. And for me, always has been music, but other things as well have to be in position in
Okay.
order for you to make a good and healthy life. So
Right.
yeah, I would say that I'm a very organized person as well and disciplined in many things.
Oh, lovely, lovely. What is the role of spirituality in your music, and what are some of the spiritual techniques that you personally embody, which help with your musical abilities?
I mean, I feel that, like when it comes to, for example, if we are talking about spirituality, like talking about religion, for example, it's
Mm-hmm.
not something that I have been practicing any religion in my life, and
Mm-hmm.
I respect all religions in the whole world. Um, I've been involved in many religions musically because I
Mm.
know so many musicians, including Cuban musicians,
Yeah.
that they practice, for example, the Yoruba religion, that in
Mm.
Cuba is very strong, and the music is a strong part of the religion. So that I love so much.
Mm.
When it comes to practicing it, I haven't really explored so much.
All right. All right.
But definitely the respect of each other. That's my religion. It's just being kind to anyone in the
Yeah.
world, just
Yeah.
being open to respect diversity and
Yeah.
to respect that you can think different than myself. If we respect each other, everything is cool. So that's kind of like my religion. My religion is love to each other and try to be kind to people and try to express a positive message through anything that you do in life. Is my if my way of expressing is music, through music. But if it's not, and it's like you, that you have a microphone and you talk to your audience and you talk to people, well, it's the same for all of us. It's the
Yeah. Yeah.
same. We
Yeah.
have many situations that we can choose how to present ourselves into humanity, into the society. So we have to be very careful with the decisions that we make, because it can be good or bad for next generations. And I try to be the best as I can for the new generations of musicians, or
Yeah. Yeah.
or people in general. That's my religion.
I love how simplified you made the entire concept, and I love your ideology, mutual respect, and some of the basic ideals that we learn when we are little, and having all these moral values in place is key. I agree with you on that. You did speak about good and bad, right? So to what degree do you feel conscious of your audiences? Of course, you've had great social media presence. I was just going through your social media and the nature of content you've been putting out lately in terms of bringing together pop culture and your art or your music together, right? Is incredible. Having some popular tunes that were reinterpreted in the Alfredo style includes the
Uh-huh.
Barbie theme, the Pink Panther song. So I would like to understand as to how important is the common man's response to Alfredo's music.
Well, um, yes, I will say that. Well, first of all, I want to say something. I do what I feel is right for me. I don't do anything because I feel I'm gonna, just okay. Let me see how I say this.
Mm-hmm.
The most important for me is just to find ways to be creative
Mm-hmm.
and to get to people, but always having in mind that my essence cannot change.
Okay.
My music has to be something coming from my soul,
All right.
coming from my heart, and I have to make it with love and conviction that I'm doing something that I love.
Hmm.
It cannot be like I'm creating something to get something like followers, or to get something like audience, or to get something like that, because then, in my opinion, that's not the way to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just follow and repeat what others do,
Hmm.
thinking that that's gonna be good for you,
Yeah.
and not necessarily has to be like that.
Hmm.
What I'm saying is this: we know that the pop world, or for example, in our world, the reggaeton is what sells the most.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna be myself like like a reggaeton musician right now, only because reggaeton works better. I
Hmm.
have to be what I am. I
Yeah.
have to be Alfredo. I have to do the things that move me and the things that love me. Now I have to say something. I've been very fortunate
Yeah.
that I share my message with people and then have been responding to me in a very positive way.
Yeah.
Why? Because as you mentioned, some of my videos, a lot of my videos, they have become viral on
Yeah.
social media. A lot of people write me, a lot of people follow me and tell me beautiful things about my music. And that's something that I'm just very grateful. I'm just very honored that many people like what I do.
Yeah.
But I've been in a situation before that I didn't have those tools and I was the same Alfredo. That's my point. I've
Okay.
been in situations when I was in Cuba, I was in situations that I had to play for two people.
Mm.
Two. When I mean two is like the whole room, two people.
Okay.
And I've been in situations later that, for example, I've done shows that we have like 10,000 people. We
Yeah.
have like 16,000 people at the Hollywood Bowl. One of my first shows in the United States was at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles when I
Wow.
came. And
Okay.
I remember a very drastic situation because, as I mentioned to you, I was a little kid in Cuba that no one knew about him. And then in Cuba is not like we have like many jazz festivals or things like that. I remember playing in the club in Cuba on a Monday that is a very slow day, and Cubans, they don't have money to go to the jazz club. So it's like depending of how the tourism is going in Havana. So some people are gonna come to the club. And I remember playing for two people, two foreigners
Yeah.
from Canada. And I remember I always have this story with my friends, which by the way, we keep playing together music
Uh-huh.
now. And we always laugh because we remember, oh, you remember that day when we played for the two Canadians guy? They were two Canadians guy. And we were sweating, man. When we finished the show, we were like sweating like if we were playing at the Madison Square Garden. We gave them everything, everything we had, like so much love. And so what I'm saying is this. Alfredo has been doing the same since I was a kid. I do this because music is like water for me. It's a necessity.
Mm.
And then, if now I am in a good position, in a better position, that now more people know about what I do, and I have the ability to reach out to more people through social media, to being
Yeah.
an independent musician and to being an entrepreneur, and just constant sharing and growing my business. Well, I'm happy about that. I'm happy that I have that ability, that I can be myself,
Yeah.
promoting myself and creating every day. And that's something that is really important for each person, not only as a musician. Each person should be trying to develop a world of business for them that they can feel the most independent that you can feel. It should be better for you.
Got it.
We live in a world that we need people. We need others to be promoted to anything. For anything, we need people. But as much as you can just develop your own audience, your own marketing, your own music, your own concerts and everything, it's gonna be better for you because you don't need to be asking favors all the time. Then,
Yeah.
then you need to be. Then you will need to have people helping you. But it doesn't mean that you cannot have your own career. It doesn't mean that you cannot have your own life secure.
Yeah.
Something else is like to be the most famous musician or something like that. That's something different. But just to be secure that you're fine, you play, people like you have concerts, you have enough just to live and enough just to keep continuing sharing whatever you want to share with your people. And I am very fortunate right now because I have been in a position that right now I can create the music that I like. I can tour the whole world. I can create my albums. I can be an independent artist like that and just continue in this world of sharing music that feels right to me and not being sacrificing sounds or sacrificing those type of moments and situations that I don't want to be in just to become a little more famous or just to make a little more money.
Brilliant. I chanced upon the mesmerizing music video of Snails in the Creek, and it became evident that there's a profound essence of visual storytelling interwoven with your musical composition. So, could you elaborate on the significance of these visual elements in your music, shedding light
Well,
and how they sort of enrich the overall experience in terms of what you're trying to convey?
as I was mentioning before, I am not part of any religion, but I've been part of many situations that
Yeah.
I have met people that are part of the religion
Yeah.
in Cuba, for example, like my brother Pedrito Martinez, is
Mm.
someone who has been collaborated with me
Yeah.
for so many years.
Yeah.
Snails in the Creek is a recording that we put out. I think it was the Invasion Parade came out in 2016. I think
Mm-hmm.
Snails in the Creek is one of the songs in there,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I've been collaborating with Pedro for so many years. Pedro
Yeah.
is part of the Yoruban culture. And then I wanted to create music related to my roots, my
Okay.
heritage, everything that
Okay.
I've been listening since I was a kid.
Mm.
And Snails in the Creek is a song that did, we did a celebration of one of the saints. The name
Okay.
is Eleguat.
Okay.
So who opens the way for many things in the religion culture. And then I actually end up making a duo album with Pedrito later. The duo album that is Duologue, which is the previous album that I did before Cutaway.
Yeah.
And again, as I said before, religion has always been part of my life when it comes to music.
Yeah.
I've been playing with many musicians, even like Indian musicians. I have a beautiful friend like Ganav Yadoraiswamy. She's a singer from
Mm.
India, and she was part of my third album,
Yeah.
Tokororo.
Yeah.
And then I learned as much as I can from you guys' culture, from other people culture everywhere, like Japanese or Chinese or Latin or anything,
Yeah.
African. I love all folklore, all cultures, and that's something that I'm gonna keep developing with my music and my career. I do really think that music can bring us together
Yeah.
instead of separate us,
For sure.
and that's what I do with my music. That's it. It's very
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah. Yeah. Music unites us all. I stand by that.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely, and that's something that I also have been learned for so many years with Quincy.
Mm.
You have the biggest example when you have a producer that
Yeah.
did "We Are the World."
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's there the proof that
Yeah.
is something that Quincy always has been looking with his music, with, just to be unified and just to
Okay.
unite. It has been always his message, and that's why also he has musician and he had collaboration and had a musician like myself in the
Yeah.
company,
Yeah. Yeah.
because just a little Cuban that no one knew about himself. He liked it, and he went like this just to say, Alfredo, I want to help you. I want
Mm.
to do something with you. One
Yeah.
day I will help you, and I will, so I'm here today.
Yeah.
So that's Quincy's essence. That's
Mm.
who Quincy Jones is. That's what he was looking when it
Yeah.
comes to music.
Yeah.
And you can see that someone who made already so much money and so much business when it comes to music, just paying attention to this Cuban who plays the piano and who no one's know about him, that talks a lot about who Quincy is
Yeah.
and what has been in his heart when it
Yeah.
comes to music, and is helping other people, is embracing culture. And that's something that I will, again, those conversations, as I said before, are the ones that stay with me forever when it comes to Quincy.
Reminded me of this popular Dennis Waitley quotation: "The greatest achievements are the ones that help others succeed." I think
Mm.
he set a prime example in terms of that. I was
He
going
is.
through, yeah, yeah, for sure. I was going through a very popular interview sometime today, probably a few hours before our interview. Someone described that jazz is about the nature of America, the nature of American creativity and race, against in times that, I would personally laugh at this kind of a statement. What is your take on this?
Well, man, you know what? It's a difficult topic. Sometimes I don't know how people are going to take this, but sometimes we pay attention to all of these things too much.
Yeah, yeah,
I think music is just one.
yeah,
Music is just one thing.
yeah,
I don't like when people like to categorize myself just as, Cuban piano, you play Cuban. Oh, you know how to play the clave. Oh, you don't know the clave, so then you cannot play Cuban. I don't
yeah,
like that. You don't know
yeah,
the Indian clave, so then you cannot play. I play whatever I want.
yeah,
That's it. If you like it, good. If you don't like it, good. I play whatever I like because
Mm.
I'm free. I
Yeah.
am a free human being that I want to learn.
Mm.
I know that you guys, for example, have a very strong culture,
Yeah.
and many, obviously, in order to be like a professional, uh, like play your culture very like in detail and know the patterns and know so many things that you have to become like a great Indian traditional okay, that's something else. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that I want to, but that's something else that you tell me
Yeah.
that I cannot be involved in the culture. I can be involved in any culture that I want. As a matter of fact, I do it. And no one can change that on me. You can have any opinion. You
Mm.
can tell anyone from Norway that they come to Cuba and you can tell them, you are not really a good Cuban musician. Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? I'm against this type of mentality that we put so many borders and barriers between each other only because we are experts
Correct.
in what we do.
Yeah.
Because it's true. It's true. If I grew up in Cuba and I've been involved with Cuban musicians, and my parents play the percussion, and I am always involved in this culture, and you are not, obviously, I should be better than you if I have talent.
Sure.
That's a fact. We don't need to even go into that. My point is this: everyone should be welcome. Everyone should be welcome. Do your thing, I do mine. You don't do it as better as me. It's normal. I'm Cuban, that's my culture. I don't do better Indian music than people from India. It's normal. But I just want to learn. Give me an opportunity. Let me listen. Let me sit down. Let me play. And if you don't like it, don't play with me. That's beautiful. But what I don't like is like when we start putting so many things like barriers between the
Yeah.
human part.
Yeah.
The human part. Okay, that being said, go back to your question. I feel jazz is a genre of music that opened many doors for many things.
Correct.
Obviously, jazz is something that grew up in this country.
Mm-hmm.
It's Afro-American music. It's
Mm.
music that grew up in United States, created by people from the States. And like someone like myself, that's why I always say that people have to be very careful with the words.
Yeah.
And I prefer just to be named as a musician because I
Music.
don't want any problem with jazz musician, with Cuban musician, with Indian musician. I'm just
Yeah.
an improviser and
Yeah.
I'm just a musician. That's it. I just love jazz. I
Yeah.
love Thelonious Monk. I love Bill Evans. I love Bud Powell. I love Miles Davis. I love Dizzy Gillespie. I love many people that created this music and were the creators of this
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
So then that's why maybe my music has so much influence for
Mm.
this type of music and people put me in that box.
Okay.
But to be honest, what I feel that jazz is the music that like was born here and created by people from here. Now today, what can I say? Jazz today is many things. I don't know if it's correct, if it's incorrect. I don't know. I'm not like anyone in the world to say anything about it. What I know is like what they name jazz. Many people name jazz
Yeah.
today to many things. To many, it has become more global. What I see
Mm.
from the whole world, the world jazz has become so much global. And
Yeah.
then you have jazz from Cuba, jazz from India, jazz
Yeah.
from Europe, jazz from Africa, jazz from Brazil, and then you have jazz musicians, the creators from the States. But that doesn't mean that like many people say that the jazz music is dying or anything. I don't feel like that. I feel like there are many great musicians in the whole world that they are into that type of music and they like
Mm.
it and they keep playing and they keep incorporating their culture into what jazz is. And to be honest with you, I think maybe some people they just want to have it for themselves. I'm
Mm.
sure. I'm sure there are many people that they are like that. But I'm sure too that many people also creators of that jazz music and everything. If they will see like a collaboration and like a globalization of the world
Yeah.
and globalization of jazz, maybe they were gonna be happy too. I don't know. Maybe Miles was gonna be happy.
Yeah.
Maybe DC was going to be happy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. You have to ask them who they are the creators. of bebop and jazz and all of that, and many of them are dead, so we don't really know. But I have a feeling
Mm-hmm.
that they will embrace culture, that they will embrace many things, because what I see is that, for example, people like Dizzy Gillespie, they did collaboration with Cuban musicians, for example, like Chano Bozo. Chano Bozo was a great, like exponent in New York, playing the congas, the tumbadoras, and Dizzy incorporated a lot of Latin rhythms into jazz, into their culture. I see many great musicians from jazz going to your culture, going to Indian culture, and embracing those two, and embracing Cuba and America, embracing Brazil and jazz, embracing European music like classical composers. Because, by the way, we have to say something else. When you listen to Bill Evans, when you listen to Bob Powell, when you listen even like Thelonious, I can listen a lot of European also.
Correct.
I can listen a lot to Ravel, Debussy, Stravinsky, Beethoven, Chopin. I don't know, many of those composers, I can listen into their music. They even play classical music before playing jazz. So many of them. So when I see this mentality of jazz is only mine, you cannot play jazz, or you cannot do this, you cannot do that, is very controlling. I don't like your personality. I don't like your message. I prefer to be far away from you.
Beautiful, beautiful, and incredibly well articulated. I love the way you sort of went in detail. Even I'm someone who's against that whole idea, so I'm so glad that we're on the same page. Let's talk about something lighter, the last part of our agenda today, in the interest of time, which is going to be the fun rapid fire segment for Alfredo. So let's see how you do in terms of the rapid fire. All right. So first question for you, Alfredo. What is that one song that always makes you cry?
Cry. Oh my gosh. That's the most difficult question. Well, I will say, if I get emotional, maybe I will say like the Con concert, the Con concert have 4 parts. Keith Jarrett, as I mentioned before, he went on the stage and played like like 4 parts of music. Like he was improvising the whole album. And the last piece of that album always gets me a little emotional. I think it's because also it really is attached to my story. It's attached to how I started listening to that type of music. And also because he's great. So I think that it doesn't have a name, to be honest. That's why I said part 4, because the album, since it's all improvisation, part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. I would say part 4 is is that song.
On the contrary, what is your favorite guilty pleasure song?
Oh my gosh! Now you're putting me on the spot right now. I don't even think about that. I don't have it. I don't know.
Okay. All right. If you
I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this, as you can see. So just let's just do it. But I will try. I'm trying.
Yeah. If you had the ability to put together an all-star jazz band, who'd be in it?
Okay, first of all, I wouldn't be in it, because if it's just jazz, I shouldn't be part of this, and it should be maybe someone that are creators of that kind of music.
Maybe a little more contemporary, maybe to sort of refine my question, a little more in a contemporary sense,
Well, if it's in a contemporary sense and I can be part of it, I will say the same band that I have. I don't want to change it. I don't want to change my friends. I don't want to change the musician that, this is something that I want to say, which is even more important than just me responding the question. We have to find teammates and people that play the game in the same way that you want to play.
Correct.
When you want to be like a soccer team, and you see it all the time, you see that the other team can have many stars. And if they don't collaborate, if they don't get into the point that they want to share the ball, if they don't want to pass the ball, they lose. You have to be collaborative. You have to give in order to get.
Okay.
So what I'm saying with this is that, you know, if we're talking only about a jazz situation, jazz band traditional, I would mention my idols. I would mention Dizzy Gillespie and Charlie Parker and Miles Davis and Joel Coltrane. And then the piano, we can put a Bob Powell or Bill Evans or Lenny Tristano. We can name millions of artists that I would love to be in that jazz band.
Okay.
If we are talking about a contemporary jazz band that I want to be involved, if I am the pianist, I will say my friends. I will say the people that play with me, because they are the one that gives me the most. You know,
Okay.
I prefer to be a good music is something that is not just because you play with the stars.
Yeah.
Music is gonna be a star. That doesn't work like that.
Okay.
You can have many stars, and then the music doesn't work because many other things. Maybe it's not even because the music. Maybe it's because they are not really feeling for each other.
Yeah.
Because maybe there is no brotherhood, or maybe there is no love between each other. And then you cannot create love, brother. You cannot create love if you don't love each other.
Yeah.
That's it. It's very simple. If the situation is, you can create great music, that's for sure, and amazing music.
Yeah.
But the next step, it only can be really created when you really feel for the other people.
Marvelous. What is your favorite cuisine?
I would say something that has rice.
Uh-huh.
Anything that has rice.
Okay.
I love Indian food actually.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love Asian food because Asian they you know they use rice all the time. Japanese or Chinese or Taiwanese or Vietnamese. I love you know Mexican food,
Yeah.
Cuban food, Brazilian food. Anything that has rice. Rice is my favorite. So if it has rice, I'm there.
Incredible. Incredible. In fact, had you come to the southern part of India, they consume a lot more rice than where. So I forgot to mention, you're going to be playing in India, and I'm so excited to
yeah.
see you. Yeah, bring it on. That's going to be mad. So do you wanna plug in? Do you wanna speak about your show that's coming up?
Yes, sure. Yes, sure. Actually, it's gonna be my first time. I haven't been in India, and this is something that I've been excited for so many years, that I wanted to go to your country and play my music there, because, as I said before, because the love of the music, the tradition, the culture of you guys for so many years. So I cannot really wait to go there for the first time. I hope everyone shows up. I hope everyone comes to see us for the first time. We're gonna play, as always, our life, and it's gonna be a combination between the last album, Cut Away, with also like music that I grew up listening to in Cuba, and music that I've been, you know, like involved since I came to the States. I do many covers and play music from all over. So we never know. Maybe I even play like an Indian song.
When is it and where is it? Do you also want to mention the details for the
Yes,
listeners
of course. The show is at Tata Theater. We're gonna be playing in Mumbai. We're gonna be playing November 26th. November 26th at Tata Theater. I'm gonna be there with my band, and this is gonna be a beautiful night. You guys should come. Don't later, if you don't come to my website and my social media telling me, oh, I didn't know you were here. Yeah, I'm going to be in India for the first time, November 26th at Tata Theater with my band. Come and check us out. It's going to be a beautiful night of music.
I've already booked my tickets to Mumbai, and I would love to come and say hi to you.
Yeah, definitely. Let's meet there. Let's have a good time, and I cannot wait.
Well, one last question for today. Down in the distant horizon, what would you like to be remembered as?
My music is gonna be there, and my music is gonna say anything that I wanted to say with words. I don't really feel or think that words I can say right now will be as important or as powerful as my music. Anyone who wants to know who I am, they can go to my music. They can listen to my albums. They can listen to everything that I have done in terms of music. And I feel that I shouldn't be able even like to get closer to that. Now, if we are not only talking about music, I will want to be remembered as a person who did the positive, a person who focused into giving to the world something that the world gave me, which was like a very, I've been a very fortunate human being that had this ability to play music and to translate my life into music and then reach out to people, not even talking. And that's something that is very, I feel very grateful for that.
Okay.
That I can sit in the piano and make people cry or make people laugh, make people sit down and shut up, or make people scream. And that's something that is very powerful. I think that music has like a very powerful, a strong, incredible message. And through music and through my life, I think that should be the most important of Alfredo Rodríguez. You know, just being kind to each other and try to get the best out of each human being, and just live a simple life, which today is very difficult. That's difficult to have a simple life, which mean simple for me means like the simple things that we are forgetting sometimes in society today.
Okay.
You know, like spending time with your family and spending time to people that you love, not doing many, you know, like negative situation, not expose yourself to a stupidity, which is something very common today. And just try to get any tool that we have in society today, like social media or money or many of those things, and try to make the good with them. Because I always say something: money, social media, music, power, those are things that are not bad. That's not bad. All of them are good.
Yeah.
We make it good or we make it bad.
Yeah.
In the way that we use them. So that's the message that I wanna, that I wanna express to young generations and to the, like musicians or not. No, this is not about music. This is about life, which is more important. So yeah, that would be my message. I would like to be remembered like that, to someone who were focused in that type of message, and through my music doing the same.
Great answer for a closure. This interview will be additionally aired on Big FM Shillong and Aizawl, two incredible radio stations in the northeastern part of India, on the Sunday primetime show between 5 to 6 p.m. And it'll also be on my YouTube channel, Aditya Veera 1994. You can feel free to check out the live stream, and also streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, name it. So I'll be sure to share the link once all of these are out. Thank you so much, Alfredo. It's been such an incredible blessing, privilege, and an honor. Thank you for taking so much time out. And I would like to do part 2 of this interview, which will be a live interview from NCPA. I'm hoping to make that happen.
We will do it. We will do it. Just let us know. We're here to support all the time. Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you,
I cannot wait to see you.
I hope you had fun.
Thank you. I had a good time. Thank you so much.
Glad. Have a nice day. Take care.
Bye-bye. You too.
Bye-bye.